All right, everybody. Good morning. It is Jay again. And today we are going to be talking about my favorite fruit tree on the entire planet, and that would be mango trees. Not only do I love the fruit on these trees, but they're highly productive in Arizona. And it just so happens to be one of the coolest looking plants in the world, in my opinion. It's got these big, beautiful tropical leaves. And these plants look pretty good, especially after what they just went through with that heat wave. We had a terrible heat wave go through here, 117, 118 degrees, and I thought it was going to probably wipe out a lot of the mangoes, but in fact, all it really did was stimulate them to grow because the humidity came right behind that heat wave, and mango trees love humidity. So that's really kind of rule number one, is you got to have a little bit of a humid yard in order to grow mango trees. They don't like to be parked out in the full sun on their own like any other regular fruit tree. They like to be planted in more of a shady area, especially with the afternoon sun. You want to get them out of that. So let's go over some of these mango varieties, guys, because we've got some mango fruits on the trees, and we kind of want to check all these out because it's been several years since I've had these in now, and a lot of these mango trees are getting quite big and lush and beautiful and definitely full of fruit. So let's just start with this one right here, because this one is by my front door, and this is a coggshall mango, and you can see that he's got some beautiful fruit. And this mango variety actually should have already ripened up. We've had a weird ripening season with the mangoes this year, because it's usually the cogshalls that kind of start off the program, and this year that's not been the case. It's been the manillas and a couple of the other varieties of mangoes. But this is a beautiful mango tree. Perfect fruit on these guys. You can see they're just absolutely beautiful, and quite a bit on this little guy. You don't want to overtax the mango trees with mangoes. I know you like to keep every single one that sets on these, but sometimes you have to thin these down yourself, or the tree will self-thin quite a few of the fruit by itself. But you can see that these fruits are absolutely perfect. There's no blemishes on these whatsoever. Just beautiful. Perfect fruits. So this is a coggshall. All right, guys, and this is a coggshall in a pot. So this is the same variety that I just showed you there, planted in the ground, and this one is in a pot. I like to have some of these in giant pots in planters up here by my patio, so that I can kind of move them around and kind of put them wherever I want them to be. But this is a beautiful specimen too. Nice big wide canopy on this one. And I'll tell you, there's no fruit on this one this year, but if that does happen to you on a mango tree, believe me, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it's probably a good thing for most of you in Arizona, because what'll happen is it'll put a lot of that growth and a lot of that energy into new growth. So you'll start getting a larger tree. If you leave the mangoes on the tree, you're going to get very, very slow growth on the mangoes, because they have a very short growing season to begin with. And when they have fruit on them, they spend a lot of that energy putting it onto the fruit. So even if a mango tree doesn't fruit one year for whatever particular reason, don't worry about it. You're going to get tons of growth on it, and you're going to get a larger tree. That's how we got larger trees on these to begin with, is we took the fruit off of them for several years to let them get to these larger sizes. So this is the same variety in a pot. All right, so this is a cotton candy mango, which happens to be one of the very best premier mango trees that you can get. This one's a really nice size, and this one did produce fruit this year. This one was actually first, which was kind of weird. So this one put on about 3 nice big fruits, which we already ate, and a delicious variety. Then right next to it, we've got a Bailey's Marvel. This one's also in the ground. This one's been in here for a while, and what's really nice about this one is this one takes all the afternoon sun. So this particular mango only gets afternoon sun. But what you can see is nice about this one is he has really filled in a lot of this canopy area so that he has become more of a shade tree. He's got a lot of nice thick growth here. Let me see if I can get around to the front. Yeah, absolutely stunning tree. This is the afternoon side. Get that pomegranate out of my way. Let's see here. Okay, now I can show you that tree better. That is a beautiful Bailey's Marvel sitting out here in only afternoon sun, and you can see all these mango trees have gotten large. So this is a Bailey's Marvel. All right, then we have another one here just to the right of those other two. You can see there's a mango here and a mango behind it, and a lychee here in front, and a longan. And then this is another mango. So this is a Seacrest or a triple sec, and this thing's become quite a beast. This is a larger mango tree, and this has some really nice mangoes. This is an excellent fruit. And you can see the mangoes are already getting to a nice size, nice and thick and heavy. And look at those fruit, guys, absolutely perfect. Here's another one here. Heavy. I mean, I can't tell you guys how heavy these are. So they bend down the branches, so you can't have too many of these mangoes on one branch or you'll end up destroying the tree. This is one of my favorites of my mango trees. This is the Seacrest or the Coggeshall. Okay, and then also right outside the front door here is a Venus variety, and this is a weeping variety of mango tree. You can see that all the branches weep down towards the ground. They weep really low, and in fact I've got this up on a stand. So this sits up on a stand so that all these branches can weep down to the ground. Otherwise they would be dragging across the ground. Some mango varieties just grow this way, the Venus being one of them and the coconut cream being another. There's not a darn thing you're going to do to get those branches to support themselves and be upright. So it is considered a weeping mango tree, and this one also happens to put on some of the largest mangoes that I have ever seen. So this is just the beginning of them, and you can see that that is a gigantic fruit. That thing must weigh, gosh, 5 pounds already. And so all your fruit starts to weep down off of this tree too, and that's what pulls all the branches down. But I think they look really cool because they all do that all the time. And that is what gets a lot of the coconut cream mangoes in Arizona, is the fact that they are a weeping tree. And so when the branches bend down like this, they tend to sunburn in a yard where there's no cover. This has a mulberry tree above it, so even with the weeping type behavior that it has, it does just fine. All right, so the next one we're going to cover here is a Valencia Pride, and this may not be one of my favorite flavors of mangoes, but it is definitely one of the coolest mangoes because it gets these gigantic long fruit on it. These will actually get a little bit longer than this. This have just begun, but you can kind of see they hang down like beautiful ornaments here, and that's a pretty official mango, even at the state it is right now, and just absolutely beautiful out here. So look at these mangoes. It's all about the fruit, guys. It's all about the fruit. Ooh, there's a nice big one up here too. Look at that. Look at that beauty. And you see that I keep the trunks wrapped on these, especially if they're going to be anywhere out in the sun. So let me see if I can get back from this one, because this one is getting above the roof here, and just put on just tons and tons of fruit. All right, the next one we're gonna cover here, if I can hear over the birds, it would be the lemon meringue. And if you're wanting more of an upright mango tree, like what you think about an upright tree looking like, the lemon meringue might be a good choice for you because it grows upright and super tall. And you can see that this one has become quite a tree. I can almost hang out under this tree as a shade tree. It's got a nice canopy on it, and it is way above my head. Now, I can't reach the top of this mango tree anymore, so this one has become a nice little shade tree out here, even though it is under the cover of the mesquite tree in the afternoon. So this one gets a lot of afternoon shade, and it looks absolutely stunning. This is another one of those that didn't put on fruit this year, but has put on a couple feet worth of growth, and I'm okay with that. This one will produce next year. It seems like they alternately bear just a little bit here. Okay, so we'll go over another one here. This is another Valencia Pride. This one is in the ground versus the one that you saw up there in the front, which is in a pot. And I forget how many of these mangoes I actually have because I almost forgot about this one. I always walk by this one. This one's kind of tucked in next to my house, and you can kind of see that this one has fruit on it too. I don't know if I can get to it. This one has fruit also that's just beginning, and they will be the size of those other ones soon. It seems like the ones in the pots grow the mangoes the quickest. Meanwhile, the ones that are in the ground have the actual correct ripening time on them for Arizona. So this is a Valencia Pride, and this one is planted literally a couple feet from my house, which keeps it nice and cool. He's kind of tucked back in there by himself, and he's getting a little bit of his new flush coming on too. Okay, so now we're in the back, and there are quite a few mango trees back here. A lot of these, I'm going to try to see if I can even remember what's back here. They've been stuffed back here growing for so long. This one happens to be a Hayden. Let me see if I can get to his fruit here. This is a Hayden Mango. He's just got going, as you can see, but also absolutely perfect fruit on these trees. This one's a little bit stuffed under some other trees, so this one doesn't get very much light. Although this one is also a little bit of a weeping tree, and he's kind of spread out below the other ones, which is good because it keeps them cool and keeps them shaded. Got a couple mangoes out here on the ground, but you really got to search for them because they really kind of hide themselves, which is nice because then the birds don't get them also. I mean, I have trouble finding them all because there's one even out here hanging out in the dirt all by himself. Kind of tuck that back in there in the shade a little bit. So this is a Hayden. Okay, and this mango variety is called an Irwin. This one is also in the back, and it's kind of tucked under the grapevines that are above it. And this one looks really good too. And this one is really kind of tricky finding the mangoes because they are literally on the ground. So these, oh my gosh, this branch, I'm gonna have to probably stake this up, but you can see how big these mangoes are, and it always seems to put them on in these big clusters too. So you get, like, say 3 giant mangoes here at the end of a branch, which also happens to kind of bury themselves in the ground. So I'm going to lift this one up just slightly so that the fruit is at least off the ground. And it's surprising, even laying on the ground, how much the bugs don't disturb the fruit until it's actually ripe. Now let's kind of move back into this section. We've got some nice bigger trees back in here. Man, this one's a beauty. Look at the mangoes. Absolutely beautiful hanging off this tree. And this tree has gotten quite large. Let me see if I can even get back. I'm tripping over mangoes here. Get back to so you can see the size of it. And this one's planted by a brick wall here and goes on up above the brick wall. It has now become quite a nice canopy tree. And this one is always full of fruit. Lots and lots of fruit. You don't really have to look for it on this one because they are literally covering the entire tree. I mean, I can't tell you how many are on this one, but a lot. A lot of mangoes. This one is absolutely full and going over the other side, and the neighbor now has mangoes hanging over the other side. Let's move on to the next one, which would be a juicy peach. And this one is planted right next to this one. And this one has gotten some height to it now. This one didn't do so well when I put it in here originally, but this one has definitely recovered and has become a champion plant. No fruit on this one because it was stripped to get the tree a little bit bigger. So just in this section, we've got one behind me, one in front of me, and one to the left of me. Now let's go through this little section right here, and we're going to look at a couple more, because these two trees are also beautiful. It's really hard to show scale here, guys. That's a 6-foot wall there, so I guess that'll help a little bit. But that mango tree is massive. I put a smaller one in here. This is a Lancetella, but he is catching up now to the one on the other side of it also, which happens to be an Alfonso. And this Alfonso is one of my larger mango trees. You can see he goes way up there. And this thing is pretty much in the full sun now. And this thing is just a champion. Looks absolutely perfect. There's no scorched leaves. You would think this thing would be absolutely burnt up, especially with some of the size of some of the leaves on this tree. But of course they're well watered and well taken care of, so you're not going to have that issue. Now these mangoes that you're seeing here, I believe are the Alfonsos. I don't think they're coming from this Lancetella, even though they're kind of hanging out with it. These are Alfonsos. So these are absolutely delicious mangoes. Just perfect fruit. Nice little Alfonsos. And man, yeah, this tree is really taking on some growth spurt. It is a larger tree. This one's been here a while, and you can even see he's got a couple little mangoes that have sprouted around him that I missed the fruit from last year. So every time a mango seed falls here, it germinates, and then I get a new mango tree. So let me see if I can back up from this a little bit so you guys can see the scale of this one, because that is an amazing tree. Sorry guys, you have no idea how hard it is to film in a jungle. Okay, let's see here. There it is up there. So way up there in the full sun now, definitely acclimated to Arizona and producing plenty of fruit like you just saw. So let's pan over here to the side and let's go through this little walkway and let's see what else we can find. As far as mangoes go, so we've got a Juliet planted here. This one's real low. This one's kept pruned extremely low. This is underneath the peach tree, which is above it. And then right behind the Juliet, let's see if I can get over here. Right behind the Juliet is a coconut cream, one of the infamous coconut cream mango trees. I've got 2 of those here, and like I stated before, they are a weeping tree. And so a lot of these branches that bend over, they get sunburnt, and that's why there's not a lot of coconut cream mangoes in Arizona. Now, I'm sure this thing has some fruit on it somewhere. Let's look. Yep, there we go. You can always tell them because they're always kind of warty or kind of bumpy. So that is a coconut cream mango. There's a couple more. You really have to search for the mangoes on these trees sometimes. So that's your coconut cream there. Coconut cream mangoes. Another one over here. There's quite a few on it this year. So those are coconut creams, and he is an extremely weeping mango tree. If you guys can tell by this. Now, let's pan over here to this side, and over here we've got a sunrise. So this is also more of an upright growing mango tree. Let me see if I can shake it so you can see how big this thing is back here. The top of that metal pole there is 9 foot. So he's 9 to 10 foot tall. Absolutely beautiful mangoes. The sunrise always puts on a nice, big, consistent mango. I think I've got 3 of these trees in the yard total. This is one of the an excellent producer every year. Nice big heavy mangoes. And look how perfect those are, guys. Absolutely clean fruit, and that is very, very important on mango trees. But yeah, he's loaded up too. It's just a matter of going through and finding all of them, and it's kind of hard to get them all on video when I'm half searching and half trying to walk through here for mangoes. But yeah, there's plenty of fruit on all these. So this is a sunrise, and then right behind this one we've got a Valkyrie, which is a Valencia Pride and a Kerry mixed. And this is also a pretty good tree too. You can see the size of it there, and then the fruit. So the fruit are like a giant Kerry mango. Valencia Pride and Kerry mix, so Val Kerry. And they're almost like a sort of pointed, almost like sort of a pointed mango. But he's got quite a few too. It's just, you gotta look for them. Absolutely perfect fruit on this guy. So this is a Val Kerry. And then if we turn to the right, we're gonna go past the bananas here. I always forget I have this Malika back here. Ugh. And this Malika is doing surprisingly good considering this is planted in a hot corner. There's a metal fence right here, and then the block wall. This gets pretty hot right here, and you would think that this one would cook. Now this does have a tree behind it in the neighbor's yard, which does help this one out just a little bit, but not too much. And this has actually become a pretty good sized tree too. So if I can push up the branches, that top of that barn there is 9 foot also. So this one has gotten quite large. And the fruit, I tell you, the fruit on these are probably one of the biggest, cleanest, heaviest fruit that you've ever seen. I don't know how it supports these. Like, these are extremely heavy, and he puts on so many too. So it puts on an incredible amount of these beautiful, look at these guys. These are right next to a metal wall. Do you see this metal fence? Getting nice and hot. It's not even cooking the mango fruit. Look at that. Absolutely perfect mangoes. These, if you're wanting a perfect mango, look at this one's almost even a little bit blue. It's got that Java blue going on. But yeah, look at these guys. Absolutely perfect. Every one of them. and big. Look at those gigantic mangoes, and I'm sure he's got some more, but we're not gonna look at it. Oh yeah, he's got more. He's got more. There's even one on the ground. Yep. So this is the Malika, and you would think it would cook, but I tell you, there's two tricks really to getting good. Ooh, there's another one. Getting good mangoes in Arizona, and the tricks are afternoon shade, plenty of water, and a good quality compost to feed them. If you're not feeding these guys well, like we do, and believe me, these guys love the compost. They eat up this organic material like you wouldn't believe. And of course, we've got all these mangoes. So it definitely is working and keeping these plants alive and looking good. And they're getting older too. So starting to grow into neighbors' yards and things. All right, let's take a look at some more. All right, and this one is called an Azucar. This is a little bit more of a rare variety. This puts on a lot of mangoes, but they're a lot smaller on this variety for some reason, but it puts on a lot of them, and they're extremely sweet. So this is kind of an oddball variety that I've got here, where it produces these smaller mangoes. They do get a little bit bigger than this, but they are very sweet. So this is called an Azucar, and he's got quite a few of them on there, but you can see how small they are as compared to the other ones at the same age. So this is kind of an oddity, kind of a novelty there. And then I've got another Bailey's Marvel back here in the back, and this one a little bit of an older tree. And this one has grown on up and is starting to punch through the canopy now. So this one should be producing fruit a lot better now that it's going to get a lot more sunlight soon. Okay, so this mango tree was given to me by a friend, so I don't know the variety of this one. I really wish I did know the variety of this one, because this one is insane. This mango tree, for some reason, puts on mangoes as though they were grapefruit. So every time you get fruit off of this one, it gets stacked on these big clumps like this one here. You see there's six mangoes right here on this one branch. I don't know how it's supporting the weight on that tiny little branch, but it is somehow. And you can even see right behind it, there's another little branch with 3 on it too. So I don't know why this one gets so overloaded with mangoes, but he puts on these big clusters of fruit on the end of each branch. So this is a really good producer. It produces the mangoes a little bit lower, and now this one's finally starting to get a little bit of height and starting to punch a little way through the canopy as well. All right, so we're back here by the pond, and right directly above the pond, we've got a fruit punch mango. And you can see that this one has gotten some nice size to it also. He's getting up there to the 9-foot tall range, and he's backed by a bunch of white sapote. I don't know if you guys can see those. But there is a bunch of white sapote growing on this tree. This tree is absolutely loaded full of fruit. So this is a fruit punch mango. This is one of the harder varieties to grow here, and you're definitely going to want to take the fruit off of it for the first couple of years to get it to a larger size, just like you would the coconut cream. Once they're a little bit bigger, you can let them start to set fruit. It's like a treasure hunt around here, trying to find all the different trees, because I forget how many of each I actually have, but you can see that it's really grown in this yard like quite thick. So they're really happy with this little microclimate. Okay, and then we've got another one over here. This one is called a Marlise. I believe this is named after one of the Zills, probably. I've got quite a few of the Zill mangoes here, the Marlise and the Dot and the actual Zill mango itself. But this happens to be a Marlise, And this one's gotten a pretty good sized trunk now. This one's become an official mango tree here now. We took the fruit off of it the first couple of years, of course, and now we let a few of these set. And these are mega giant. Like, this mango in my hand right now, this thing probably weighs like 6 pounds. Like, this is getting near sledgehammer weight on it, because they're just so full and dense, guys. I mean, look how big and round that mango is all the way around it. And perfect skin on this thing, right? That's what we're trying to achieve here. Another one here. See if I can grab that giant brick. Man, that thing's heavy. I bet you could knock somebody out with that mango. That's like almost like a rock. That almost weighs what a rock does. Get underneath it here. Yeah, just big mangoes coming off this one. So this one's a Marlies. Yeah, DW10, I think it's also called. In fact, I think I've got 2 of these. But let's pan around to the side here. So walking through here, I'll kind of go over these. This is in the backyard. Getting pretty established back here now, so we've got quite a bit of shade. This is a Spirit of 76 to my side here, and then we are going to, I'm going to pan over here and show you guys a Floragon. This is a Floragon mango, and he's doing actually pretty good out here in the full sun. This one really gets beat up. Right next to it is a smaller Sunrise. That's another Sunrise. Kind of combining into the growth of this one. Then let's head back through here. And we've got a Jahangar mango over here to the side. Then another Marlies back here, and this one's gotten quite wide. Not quite so tall. This one went more wide. That's because it's got a citrus tree above it. And this one also puts on those giant brick mangoes. Like, guys, that weighs a lot. Like, I've picked up a lot of fruit and I've picked up a lot of mangoes, but these are, that's pretty official, pretty heavy mango, and looks real good back here with all the new growth coming on. Scan through here quickly. Okay, then we got a Glen. It's hard to show scale on these guys because all these are at least as tall as me. So this is a Glen, and you can see that this one has a nice wide canopy on this one. This one is underneath a pecan tree, and beautiful mangoes once again. Really good looking fruit. Okay, now here's where it gets a little dodgy, because I know that there's a coconut cream in here. I can see it weeping down. So the larger tree in the center right here is a coconut cream, and I can also tell by the mangoes. So there is the coconut cream mangoes. Now you can see he's really pulled over into several layers. So I told you this was a weeping tree. You can see that it's weeping here. It's compiled itself into such a mass here that it's all protecting itself. So if you dig down in here, or we go underneath the canopy, it's pretty thick. It's pretty thick up underneath here with leaves. I mean, massive amounts of mango leaves. Look at this. Just super, super thick through here. So that's why these do so well. So yeah, this is a coconut cream here. And then this is a Pimsing Mum over to the side, and this one's gotten quite large too, and it's almost combined with all the other mangoes. So this has become a mango hedge or forest right here. And you can see the Pimsing mum, he's grown up into the sun now too. So a lot of these are getting a lot of sun actually. So starfruit right next to it, this starfruit gets sun for the most of the day too, and so did these mangoes. So they're doing really well back here. And of course I got my irrigation on now. So you can see how these guys get watered, and they get sprayed, their leaves get sprayed with water in the middle of the day. Uh-oh guys, we're gonna have some burning situation going on here, right? Nope, absolutely not. It doesn't work that way. So you can see that the water has just come on. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is spraying water directly on the leaves of this mango tree, which we're all told is a no-no on every kind of tree, but they're all getting sprayed right now. So that must be one of those good old myths, right? All right. So let me pan back around here because there's another 2 that are kind of stuffed over here on the side. There is a Venus right here, which always has these ginormous leaves. And then there's one behind it. Let me see if I can get back here. Because this one is also gotten quite large. This is way above the wall also. And I don't remember what this one is. I think this one might be a Gary. I don't know, there's so many back here. I'm surprised I remember what any of them are. Okay, then we go over here and I've got a huge dot mango that's kind of part of that hedge. And you can see it's covered with mangoes also. Lots of mangoes out here, even in the full sun. You would think that these things would be cooked by now, but plenty of water. I mean, I water them all the time, and I water them in the middle of the day, which is probably when most people don't think to water their plants. And then this is a fruit punch right next to it. Like I said, guys, sorry, it's very hard to show scale on these trees, but they're all 9 foot, 10 foot plus mango trees now, and they all have fruit. That is a fruit punch mango, and that one will get quite a bit larger than that. This is also a very large fruit in the end. So this is a fruit punch. So I think a lot of the problem is a lot of you guys are overtaxing the trees and expecting too much fruit off of them as too young of a size. You really want to take the fruit off of a mango tree for the first 5 years. Just get used to doing that, and then you'll have big, beautiful mango trees like these. Also, lots of water, like you can see back here. I keep it wet all the time, and of course, tons of compost because the worms love it. And not only that, but the mango trees love it. And I'll tell you how I know for a fact. Because every mango tree that falls, and I miss it, in the well there, where it falls, they germinate. And they wouldn't germinate if they didn't like this soil. So you can see that in every single one of these. Here's one right here. Actually, this one's gotten quite big. Look, these are seedlings. Guys, these are seedlings that fell into the wells, and they have all germinated in the wells where the compost is. You can see them everywhere. Every single place that there's a mango tree. So they like lots of compost, they like lots of water, and they need an afternoon break. That is the main things that they like. And that is all I'm going to cover today as far as the mangoes go. Because after this, it's just repeat, repeat, repeat. And I think you guys will get bored of the same thing. But I do want to show you a couple more over here on the side real quick. Okay, so this is by my back patio by the guest house, and this tree actually gets quite a bit of afternoon sun, full baking afternoon sun, just like the nursery trees get, because this is sort of right there on the outskirt of the nursery plants. So this one's in the ground also. This is a sunrise also. You can kind of see there's a little theme there. It's nice it's a nice tree for Arizona. It'd be the sunrise, and it takes a lot of the heat from the afternoon sun, and it also puts on mucho mangoes. This is another one where you got to kind of sit out here and look for them, but they're going to be all over the tree. So the sunrise is a good producer for mangoes if you're going to put it more in the full sun, because it is an upright growing mango tree, which is very, very important. That's really the difference between life or death on a mango tree. So this is an upright growing mango tree. This is another Venus, which I'm going to show you right this second. So this is another Venus, and you can see that it is also a weeping type tree. And if the weeping mangoes are not kept in the shade, then they are definitely going to burn. Now, this also happens to put on some of the biggest mangoes that you've ever seen are these Venus mangoes. But they're weeping. They're just like the coconut cream. So if you can't have that plant somewhere where it's a little bit shadier, so when it puts on these fruit, it's going to weep down, then you're going to lose the tree and it's going to burn up. And that's why people don't have very good success with these mango trees. Oh yeah, I forgot. They're everywhere. I just forget them because they are literally everywhere. This is another fruit punch back here by the guest house, and you can see that this one's getting kind of tall too. This one gets flattened religiously every year by a rainbow eucalyptus branch. It seems like will inevitably fall on this one and break some of the branches on this one. So maybe poor placement on this particular mango tree, or maybe the rainbow, I don't know, but who cares, they're already in. So we got to live with it. Now, I'm going to show you one more here. This is one of my older ones, or probably my oldest of the mango trees. And this one's really neat because this one we're going up for this one. We're going to go up above my guest house. And it is really neat up here too, I tell you what. Because the view from up here is really neat. See if I can get up here without killing myself though. Okay, so let me pause it for just a second. Okay, so we are way above the guest house here, and to kind of try to show you scale, I guess, for this particular mango tree is we got to look at the peach behind it. So the peach is one of my bigger trees. I think a lot of people that have been here, they know the peach tree, the Florida Prince back there, because that is an excellent producer. So you can see the size of that one, and you can see the size of this mango. This mango has gotten almost as big. So this is way above the guest house. This is in full sun all the time. This never gets any shade at all whatsoever. And I'm telling you, it's hot up here, guys. I've got this metal roof, and I can't even touch it. It is so hot, I can't even touch it. So you would think it would be baking from the roof, the metal roof itself. Not only does it have the afternoon sun beating on it too, but this thing looks pretty darn good to be in Arizona in the full sun. But it also has a nice canopy, which is what's saving this tree. Look at that, guys. That's a big mango. That's a power line. And if we look down in there, I don't know if you guys can see down in there, but you can see the trunk of the tree goes down another, 10 feet down. And it's nice and cool down in there, which is the important part, is keeping the trunk cool, because the leaves and the rest of the tree, believe it or not, will take this full sun. Man, I don't know how they're doing it though. I don't know how they're doing it. So, all right, guys. So that is it for today. Let me get back down here for my finishing thought. All right, guys. So I'll go ahead and wrap this video up here with my finishing thoughts on how to grow mango trees in Phoenix, Arizona, or in the desert, in the hot, dry climates, whether you be in Los Angeles or Las Vegas or Phoenix Valley. That's what these videos are based on, is the heat and the dryness. So it is very, very possible to have these fruit trees. As you can see here, I've got quite a few of them here mixed in amongst the rest of the trees. There's probably about 50 50 to 60 mango trees here planted in the ground. And they've all been here quite a while now, so they've all become a little bit larger, more specimen type plants. So I would say, as far as my learning curve goes, or factor wise on how to grow mango trees in Arizona, it really comes down to 3 basic principles. And if you can get those right, you'll have mango trees. And that is, 1, plenty of water. Like, nobody waters these enough. You need to water them until you think you overwatered them. Like, these plants require a lot of water, and to keep them nice and green and full like they are, and absolutely no tip burning or no salt damage. You can see that these plants are absolutely perfect. In order to get that to happen, you're going to have, you know, a good soil to begin with, and plenty of water. So water's first. If you can't get past that, then you're probably not going to have good mango trees, because mango fruit requires a lot of water if you want some nice big juicy fruits like these guys are. Number 2 would be your microclimate, so your afternoon shade. These will take full sun, but they're not going to take full sun as a baby, and they're not going to take it for the first probably 5 years. So you need to think about that as far as a microclimate when you're planting young mango trees, is take the fruit off for the first 5 years. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up even killing the tree from overtaxing it when it needs to grow and get its roots in the ground. So these aren't exactly finicky, but they do need some time, and they'll live a long time. So if you buy a 1-year-old tree, 2-year-old tree, it's just a baby. Don't expect it to fruit. It's going to take all the energy from that tree. You have to sacrifice to get something for later. Okay, guys? So that would be, next would be your microclimate. And then, of course, third would be soil. Lots of compost. I feed these the compost that I make, which is really, really rich compost. It's acidic, and it's going to change the alkaline soil that you have to more towards neutral, which is a little bit more what these guys like. So soil, water, and microclimate shade, and you guys can have one of these. And the more humidity that you have at your house, the better they're going to do, because then they're going to actually soak in moisture from the leaves instead of losing moisture from the leaves. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I know it's been a long one, and probably half of you didn't even make it to this point, which is just fine, because you missed the in little parts, which are probably the best, and that is the care for these mango trees. All right, guys, please subscribe, and thank you for watching. And if you ever get a chance to come down and see some of these mangoes in person, or any of the other fruit trees that I have here, I have a nursery here. It is called Arizona Fruit Trees. And not only do I have a bunch of plants in pots for sale, but I have every single one of these plants also in the ground, to show you that it can be done. I'm not just trying, it's not just smoke and mirrors around here. I'm trying to actually show you that this stuff can be done, instead of just trying to sell trees to people. You really need the aftercare, or people are going to give up. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you for watching.